A puppy mill is a large-scale commercial breeding operation where profit is put ahead of the well-being of the dogs. Usually the dogs are kept in very inhumane conditions, very overcrowded, unsanitary conditions, and their sole purpose is to just turn out litter after litter of dogs to supply the pet industry. Under federal law, actually, it is completely legal to keep dogs in tiny cages, usually about 6 inches longer than the dog in each direction, with the cages stacked on top of each other. The cages usually have wire mesh flooring, so feces and urine sometimes rains down onto the dogs below. The dogs are sometimes suffering from lack of veterinary care. They sometimes suffer from lack of adequate nutrition. They don't get enough food and water. Usually we see dry water bowls or very dirty water bowls with algae and feces in the water.
The dogs are matted. They don't ever get brushed. They don't get bathed. A lot of times there's flea infestations. I mean, in their ears and throughout their bodies. They have mange, which is a skin condition that they lose their hair and they get these open sores. A lot of times the dog's teeth are falling out of their mouths. They're so rotted and it's so painful for them. They can't chew or eat normally.
The conditions that are pretty common in puppy mills, those tiny cages stacked on top of each other, those are the conditions we talk about when we're talking about the breeding dogs. And those dogs generally live their entire lives in those facilities. They don't get out. The puppies that you see in pet stores and that you see for sale online are actually fairly lucky in comparison because they usually get out of those facilities by the time they're 6 to 8 weeks of age. That's not to say that there are not lasting effects on the puppies themselves. We hear story after story about sick puppies that were purchased from a pet store or from a breeder online. Everything from severe respiratory infection to parvo and distemper, which are often fatal for a puppy. The general idea behind puppy mills is to turn out as many puppies as you possibly can in as little time with as little overhead. Every opportunity to breed that dog, she is bred. Whether she is sick, whether she is not producing as many puppies as she used to, whether her body is spent, they will continue to breed that dog until she's no longer producing puppies at all, and at that point she's usually killed. Puppy mill operators treat the dogs the way that they do for one reason, and the only reason is to make a quick buck. The less money they invest in their dogs, the more money they get to keep. Almost all of the puppies that you see in pet stores come from puppy mills, and people aren't usually aware of that. If a pet store says that they don't get their puppies from puppy mills, they get all their puppies from a licensed breeder, that probably means they're getting their puppies from puppy mills. So I often get asked, what happens to the puppies in pet stores that don't get sold? And if I don't buy it, are they going to euthanize it? Usually what happens if a puppy doesn't sell quickly is that the pet store owner will just continue to slash the price of that puppy until it sells. And the puppy will sell. But every time that that pet store owner has to slash the price of a puppy, it's one less puppy he's going to order on his next shipment from the puppy mills. So what you're doing by making him slash that price is actually decreasing the demand for these breeders' products. Many cities across the country have started a movement to curb the sale of puppies in pet stores. What they've done essentially is passed local laws that simply ban it. They say, we don't want it in our town. We know that most pet store puppies come from puppy mills. We don't want to support that industry in our town. So if you have a pet store in our town, you can't sell puppies there.
There's a lot of benefits to rescuing a dog from a shelter or a rescue organization over buying a dog from a pet store. You know about the dog's health, at least the dog is vaccinated and usually spayed or neutered before you adopt them. And there's a wide variety of dogs to choose from. You can add a puppy to your family when you go to a shelter, or you can add an older dog, which can be just as great as a companion, sometimes even better. We always say make adoption your first option. If you are set on a specific breed, there are breed-specific rescues. We also see purebreds in shelters all the time. When you rescue a dog from a shelter, not only are you not supporting puppy mills, but you're saving the life of a shelter dog.